Hey there folks, Wrel here, and this is your Auraxium update for May 31st, 2015. On the public test server, we have a handful of changes worth talking about. The first of which is that the new Anti-Materiel Rifle is now available for testing. The animations and sounds seem like a work in progress, but the rifle itself is a pretty interesting addition to the game. It's an engineer primary weapon only that is meant specifically to deal with max units and lightly armored vehicles, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage to infantry or heavily armored targets. Max units will now also detonate anti-tank mines if they walk over them. Between those two changes, engineers are getting a pretty useful upgrade to dealing with max units. The Terran Republic's optic systems have also received a reduction to their size and fuzziness. These sights honestly seem a little bit small to me, and they get lost in particle effects and such. Probably not an issue for players who play on lower settings, but players who play on higher settings may notice some changes. A handful of LMGs also received potential changes. The changes are only and currently available on the PTS. They may not even go through, and they're actively being worked on. The Orion and the SVA-88 had their 0.75 times ADS movement speed multiplier stripped from the weapons, but they weren't given enough to compensate for the downside. Gauss Saw's moving cone of fire while aiming down sights is now in line with the God Saws, which means that newer players are going to find the Gauss Saw a little bit easier to use now from day one. The Butcher got brought back down to a 100 round magazine, but now has a faster reload speed than the Carve. This matches its potential as a closer range Carve, but it's still a pretty boring change altogether. It will, however, get Malorn's Carve buff, which was a very slight reduction to its horizontal recoil. That change will go through regardless of whatever comes from this proposition. The Polaris, the EM1, and the T16 Rhino are also receiving huge increases to their maximum damage range, which, with the addition of softpoint ammo, would bump their 7 body shot kill potential out to 25 meters, and that's a very distinct advantage out to those sorts of ranges. And even with the weapon's lower rate of fire, you're actually going to be out damaging top tier LMGs within an 11 to 25 meter window. On top of that, they also received some recoil adjustments that should make them more comfortable all around, and the EM1 is feeling particularly good right now. Kid Riot, Visigodo, and myself did have a chat on stream discussing some of these changes, and that was something special. That was really special. That VOD is linked in the video description as well if you want to take a look. Also on PTS, you can now unlock all of the directive weapons by just going to the bundle page. So if you're interested in seeing how that weapon you want to grind out currently performs, it could be a good idea to go take a look. The last thing we'll talk about for PTS changes is that the new game mode, Conquest, is currently available on the public test server. Conquest is basically an instanced match-based battle over a specific continent, and the lattice rules are loosened up a whole lot. They use a lattice-hex hybrid system. The lattice now only connects large outposts and facilities, but smaller bases can be captured based on hex adjacency. Right now, the winner is determined based on a points system. The first faction with 13,000 points, or the most points at the end of the alert, will win. Currently, points are earned in the following ways. 1 kill is 1 point. Capping or defending small outposts is 150 points. Capping or defending large outposts is 300 points, and capping or defending facilities is 750 points. On top of the scoring system, instant action and redeploy are disabled, and nanite costs are halved, except on max units, I believe, and I'm not sure on what else. So there are a lot of problems with this current iteration, and I don't really want to speak too much on them because that would take a long while, but basically they are going about the point system completely the wrong way. This is really the kind of thinking that caused WDS to fail, except with some additional fail layered right on top. Defending an outpost in this game is based on losing a capture point and then gaining that capture point back. You might need to dip the meter a little bit for it to qualify, I really can't remember, but defenders who goad enemies into taking a point and then instantly crush that offense with superior numbers or what have you is what we saw a lot back in WDS. It was just point trading, basically. Granted, you probably won't see much deliberate point trading in Conquest, given that the factions are actually fighting against one another, instead of everybody being out for themselves, trying to gain points to earn personal rewards. But smart outfits will easily be able to manipulate unorganized players into giving them free base defense points. Then you have things like kills rewarding points, but not support actions or assists. This is a mechanic that encourages people to kill wounded teammates so that enemies don't get the points. There are also a few other issues that crop up based on deployment restrictions and hex connections, but all in all, it's a pretty flawed system, at least for now. The easiest, not best, but easiest, solution would be to base points on experience gained while you're in a contested hex. That way, points are only redeemed when you're actively fighting, which should be the point of the game mode. I've already addressed my concerns with this game mode detracting from the core game's population numbers, and that point still completely stands, but the devs have stated a number of times that they don't want the game mode to affect the core game, and that they can easily turn it off whenever they want. Not sure where they're going to draw the line on that, but we'll have to wait for it to go live before we know anything. You can queue up for Conquest mode on the PTS by going to a warp terminal and then selecting it. Not a whole lot of people playing it at any given time right now, but there will likely be some organized playtests in the future. Over the past couple of weeks on live server, there have been some changes as well. Multi-threading had something done to it so that, as I understand it, the game is less CPU intensive, and you're more likely to see yourself GPU bound instead. Someone might want to explain that a little bit to me if you know about the changes, but basically for a lot of people, the game now runs better. For me, it's about the same because my GPU isn't too amazing, and for others, still, it actually runs worse. Hitching seems to have also made a comeback too, which sucks, but I'm sure they'll sort that out again eventually. Do let me know though how well the game has been running for you lately, and if you haven't played it in a while due to performance concerns, the game might be worth trying to run again. But if you have been playing recently, you'll probably have noticed that there are a lot more galaxies in the skies. This is because galaxies now have access to AoE repair and AoE ammo resupply defensive slots. Certification costs were increased and Daybreak cash prices were decreased, kind of, sort of. In short, the cert cost increase had to happen at some point, and I've talked about the reasons for it in the past if you're interested in checking that video out. But what I was surprised to see is that the cash prices for weapons only went down by 1, which is obnoxious, to say the least. The impression that I got when the devs said that the cash prices would be reduced slightly was that it'd be a bit more than the lowest possible value that you could reduce something by. Granted, they did decrease the cost of cosmetic items by a fair amount in a lot of cases, but it's still ridiculous. Dropping 1 point off of an evenly priced number is an old marketing strategy that's meant to make prices look more appealing than they actually are. On top of that, having money left in your wallet generally means that you want to find a use for it. So when we get gift cards, the majority of us will go out of our way to spend what's on that card, even if it means buying a higher priced item than the gift cash we have available. So I am a little bit disappointed here personally, but business is business, and as long as they don't take the game into the pay-to-win sort of area, I think it's important that they do position themselves to capitalize on their current and future markets. And I think that is about it, folks. I'll link all the past videos since the last Auraxium update in the video description from both this channel and the casual channel, as well as any related links on things that I think you'll find interesting. But be sure to follow me on Twitter @RelPlays if you're interested in more PlanetSide 2 content. I do a lot of sharing there, and I mention a lot of important community stuff that comes up, and a lot of the times it's better for asking me quick questions than going through my YouTube inbox, which, by the way, has not been showing all of the messages that I've been getting. I'll usually get a notification to my personal email that shows me a bit of the YouTube message you guys are sending me, and then I'll go and try to check it and respond to it, but when I get to the inbox, it just won't be there, and it won't be in the spam filter either. It's really strange, don't know why it's doing it, but I will try to come up with a better solution. I do have an email that you can contact, rel@relplays.com, but that inbox is so flooded with junk that it's rarely worth looking at anymore. So anyway, I'll let you know when I have those things sorted out. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if there's anything I missed in regards to recent events, be sure to share that in the comment section down below so we can bring up some awareness and have a fun discussion. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.